and accepted. That reaction with Ramakrishna is unfortunate because it's not true. He is the most loving, the most accepting, the most all-embracing, loving being that was ever put on the planet. But because we read so much about other things, the woman in gold, and the and what his reaction when the maid Brindy touched him, was like, well, we think, oh God, I would be Brindy. That would be me. So we often feel a distance from him. And it's unfortunate because he loves and cares for us every bit as deeply as others. But he's always lost in samadhi too. It's like there used to be that little bracelet that people wore in the 70s. What would Jesus do? WWJD. It's like, because in ethical situations you ask yourself, well, what would Jesus do? What would Ramakrishna do? Oh, he'd go into samadhi. No question. No question. It's like, well, how can I talk to you if you're lost in samadhi? Mother, you're right there for me. And she'll be there, oh my child, please come here. With Holy Mother, we feel safe and secure with her. There's no difference, no distance, no wondering if she really likes us or not. We're not worried about what her reaction to us is going to be. Her love is unconditional, as Sri Ramakrishna's is. Her love is unconditional. We know that no matter what, she's there to love us and support us no matter what we do. No matter what we've done, she will always accept us. She will care for us in the best way possible, which may not be the way that we think is the best way possible. It really may not be in our timeline what we think is going to be the best way possible. But she knows what is the best way possible, and she will do that for us. Mother said, never fear. When you are in distress, say to yourself, I have a mother. And that gives us great strength. Mother will never abandon us. She'll never wound us. She won't belittle us. She won't guilt trip us. She won't prefer someone else more than us, because she's our very own. She gives us shelter and she gives us peace. Shelter and peace. Swami Swahananda used to say that the most unselfish people in the world, therefore the most spiritual, are mothers. Because mothers sacrifice. Mothers sacrifice without feeling like they're sacrificing. They sacrifice and do so much out of nothing but love. That's why they're the most spiritual. And Holy Mother is the mother of all mothers. She literally saw herself as the mother of all beings. She said, I'm the mother of all. Not only of men and women, but even of animals, of birds and insects. Everyone and all living beings are under her love and protection, even bugs. She said, I am the mother of the virtuous, and I am mother of the wicked. And I think all of us can kind of fall into that line, one way or the other. All beings fall into that one way or the other. We're all under her protection, the mother of the virtuous and the mother of the wicked. So when we decide that someone is wicked or evil, we have to remember that even that person is under the love and protection of Holy Mother. Even that person. And it will help us to remember that that person is therefore our brother and sister under the embrace of Holy Mother. In other words, all of us are her children. Swami Shivananda, Ramakrishna's great disciple, said, she is the mother of us all, none other than the mother of the universe herself. She incarnated herself to fulfill the mission of Sri Ramakrishna. The world is blessed by her very presence. And she's still blessing us. She's here, and more importantly, she is here. She is in our hearts. That's what we have to remember. She's always guiding us. She's in our hearts. She's the light within our hearts. She's the intelligence of our minds. She's the very nature of pure consciousness. That is Mother, Shakti herself. And it's really hard for us to see that at first because her life really appears to be very ordinary, really very ordinary. Swami Shivananda said she lives like an ordinary housewife. She's doing her chores and she's taking care of the devotees who can understand that she's none other than the Divine Mother herself. And Sri Ramakrishna said the mother who is in the temple, the Kali temple, Bhavatharani Kali, is the same mother as the one in the Nahabat, Sarda Devi. The two are one. There's no difference between them. Now, I find it a little helpful to give a little historical background here, because I know as a Westerner, when I look at Holy Mother, I think, why? Why? What's the deal with the veil? Why are you hiding yourself? Swami Shivananda, Swami Sardananda never saw her face. He was her attendant, never saw her face. It's like, I think it's important to know the historical background, because I didn't know. And of course, I could glean it after years and years of reading, but I think to know it up front is very helpful. Mother came from a very traditional 19th century rural Bengali family. She was a Brahmin, high caste Brahmin family. That meant Porda. That meant Porda. Porda literally means curtain or veil. And it was sort of this, it was an old but very accepted. It wasn't like people weren't going, oh my God, we got to stop this. It was accepted. It was the norm. Just like we accept dating. We accept certain things in the West, and we think if people don't do it, it's weird. It's like, why don't they do that? Because it's not their tradition. Hello. In India, and especially in that area, especially, less in Tamil Nadu. Anyway, the tradition was to have Porda because of the Muslim invasions beginning from the 6th century. And as we know, women, when there's an invading army, women are not safe. We're the sort of the first go-to thing to get into trouble with. So because of that, Porta began as a protection device. And then it just kind of hardened into a social norm. So Porta literally meant curtain or veil. And it was this accepted thing of women's seclusion. That within the family, women were comfortable with men and women were together in the family. People outside the family came in. The women had an area that was called the inner apartments. In a larger home, you could have an inner area that was just for the women. Or in other homes, there'd be a partition or a curtain where the women stayed behind. And this was not a way of like keeping women down. It was not a way of putting the thumb on them. It was an accepted social norm. It isn't like women were going, free me. But whenever they wanted to, they could go out. I mean, you might get some blowback from it. But there were some articles talking about Sri Ramakrishna, about how when Sri Ramakrishna was in Dakshineshwar, the women totally abandoned their Porta and went running off to Dakshineshwar because they felt so compelled by that love. They were like the gopis with Krishna playing the flute. So women would just abandon all these social restrictions, go running after him. So I think that's important to know. It's not widely publicized because we kind of get used to our little traditional views. But I think it's important to know. So the norm was like a veil over the face with men who are not of your family, very modest dress, and the veils were really just part of the sari. It was kept down low. And this was the rule, especially with a higher caste. Lower caste, no, those women are going to be out working in the fields. They're going to be doing that kind of work. But as a rule, that was the way it was. There were in the apartments, there was the curtain, and all that. In general, women and men did not mix in society. That was the norm. And if they did so, it would really be shocking and unacceptable. There was some tantric sects to do that, and that was the people like, oh my God, they mix. So we have to accept the social norms as the way it was, not try to make them like our way, because our way isn't always the best way, is it? Things change. So these 19th century norms that was the way it was. But I think it's important for us to know that so we can see how far beyond those norms Mother went. Mother was by nature very bashful and very shy. But without hesitation, she just blew those off so she could be the mother that she was. And this was a woman who was very, very, very bashful and very, keeping within the norm. But her role as Mother of the Universe took precedence over everything. When she was married to Sri Ramakrishna, she lived in the tiniest hut imaginable, in the Nahabat, 8 feet by 8 feet. Can you even imagine that? I mean, when I went there, I was like, what is that, about like that? 8 feet by 8 feet? The door was 2.5 feet tall. Mother was 6 inches taller than me. So she'd have to bend over by half to even get in the door. In that house, she had women guests who spent the night. She also had all the food, all the stored food, the rice, the wheat that she made for endless chapatis. She stored the fish, which were in bowls over her head. It was amazing. And you go there and you go, in that place, she did all the cooking in that tiny little place. There was obviously no bathroom, no running water. Hello. She would go to the Ganges at 3 o'clock in the morning. That was it. She brought the water in. And we think, oh my God, how can anyone do this? Because there's no room for anything. She said, when she was there, I felt as if a picture of bliss were installed in my heart. There's no way for me to describe the amount of joy I felt. We go, and she goes, you can't imagine my bliss. So this shows it's all in our attitude. It's all in our attitude. Externally, she led such a simple and outwardly undramatic life. And I think the fact that she lived an undramatic life is very helpful for us, because it shows that you don't have to go out to the Himalayas, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to find yourself a cute little cave. Ordinary life. And she had the highest experiences living a very ordinary, undramatic life, just doing her chores, taking care of other people. She worked all day cooking and cleaning, husking paddy, taking care of the family members who were either crazy or greedy or a combination thereof. They didn't see her for who she was, they just wanted to see what they could get out of her, which was either money or things. They were always bickering. She would mediate all those quarrels. She was like a swan on top of the water, just going along. She would gently and carefully mediate in all these endless disputes because they were all so greedy. And a lot of them were just, crazy. Her sister-in-law was really quite extremely deranged and was unable to care for her daughters, so Holy Mother took care of her niece Radhu for her entire life. Radhu was also mentally unbalanced, also extremely low IQ, took a lot of care and took advantage of every little thing with Mother. And Mother just cared for her. It was her weight to keep her mind down. Mahamaya coming in the form of Radhu to keep her mind down to this level so she could help souls like us deal with the world. She did all of her work with great attention, with absolute perfection. And with all these family bickering quarrels, she never lost her tranquility or her peace. Just a swan on the top of the water. She lived a life intensely in the world, but she remained absorbed in God the whole time. Because it's all in our attitude and in our mind. We can be as happy as we want to be. We can be as spiritual as we want to be. It's where we decide to put our mind. Where's our mind attaching? That's the question. Now, people often think, if I were a monk or if I were a nun, then I could have had a spiritual life. It's like, no, you can take that same mind with you. You can go to the cave in the Himalayas. That mind's going to go right with you. That mind, those samskaras, you change the external thing, you're just going to turn that external thing into another version of your mind, because you're going to take your mind with you wherever you go. Mother's life and teaching show us that the highest realization comes through these, doing every bit of these ordinary tasks that can be so boring, so tedious, and she did them with such joy. It just shows it's all in our attitude, and we have to bring that attitude to whatever we do. We have to sanctify and spiritualize everything we do. Once a young monk was there in Jarambat, and he was sweeping her room, and then after he was done, he just threw it in a corner. She went, oh, that's strange, my dear. Your work is finished, and then you throw the broom away carelessly? Won't you need that broom again? She said it takes almost as much time to put it away slowly and carefully as it does to toss it. She said, should you despise a thing because you think it's insignificant? You'll need it again. She said, this thing itself forms a part of our household. It deserves some respect. Everything deserves its honor, its respect. She said, you must give everyone and everything its own due share of honor. The smallest work must be done with respect. This is the highest attitude of karma yoga, explained with such sweet and simple words. It's something we can all relate to. Oh, no, that doesn't show respect to this thing that we're using, instead of recognizing its value in our life. She really emphasized the necessity and the value of work. She said, one must do some work. She said, through work alone, we remove the bondage of work. Through doing karma, we remove the shackles of karma. Through work that we do unselfishly, without desiring the results, doing it as an offering to God. You know, truth is, we can't meditate all the time. Have you ever tried? Don't even bother. Within 3 minutes, you're going to be wondering where you left your phone. Or what you're going to do the minute you get up. What you're going to do for your next vacation. Why does my foot itch? You got at most 3 minutes. You can't meditate all the time. You're just going to be fighting with your mind the whole time. What can we do? We work. Can we work? Spiritualize whatever we do. That's the point. Mother was really like, you have to have a balanced life. Work, karma yoga. But do whatever you're doing, whether you're taking out the garbage or you're working, you're a brain surgeon, the same respect and attention. The same respect and attention, no matter what you're doing. It isn't like there's lesser jobs. Cleaning the toilet is really an important job. You've been in one that hasn't been cleaned, you really appreciate it when it's clean. Going to do you want a good brain surgeon, or do you want a brain surgeon who's like, no, I'm going to watch TikTok right now instead? You want to, so we appreciate it when it comes in our lives. The more that we can pay attention to our work, the happier we're going to be. Because when our minds are concentrated and not split apart into shards, we feel happier. We can concentrate our mind. Then we can put our mind on God too. Everything we do has to be done with that perfect attitude of worship and service. Once a woman came to visit Holy Mother. She came from Kolkata to Jairamati. And she came because she wanted Mother to give her some spiritual instruction. But Mother was busy. I mean, she was doing all of her activities. She was cooking, she was cleaning, she was feeding the devotees, she was removing all their relief plates and giving them more stuff and then taking things away. And the woman finally said to her, Mother, I have come to you for some spiritual instruction, but you don't even have time to even talk to me. And Mother said, haven't I been giving you spiritual instruction? Look at what I'm doing. Look at what we're doing. That's it. That's the spiritual instruction. Sri Ramakrishna taught her a key precept that she used throughout her life. And it's really important for us to remember, which is time, place, circumstance. 3. Sri Ramakrishna had told her that no one can attain peace or reach their goal in life if they can't adjust themselves to change circumstances, right? To the changes of time, changes in place, and the changes of person. We have to be adjustable. We can't be rigid. We have to adjust. And Mother took this really very much to heart. She always did. Mother was extremely modest and bashful. She stayed out of the public sight to such an extent, most people, 99% of the people who came to Sri Ramakrishna had no idea she was even there. No one had an idea. And of course, that's part of Purta, but even apart from that, she was much more modest and bashful than she was just like there. Being out there was not who she was. Are you okay? So, you okay? Okay. So But when Sri Ramakrishna was very ill and he had to move from Dakshineshwar to Calcutta, Holy Mother, without a second's hesitation, went right with him to Calcutta. She went to a house where there'd be men around all the time. And she broke every social norm, and she did not care about it in the slightest. She moved forward without fear and without hesitation because she adjusted to time, place, and circumstance. Is she going to let, because she's afraid of criticism or afraid of being exposed? She didn't care. Let me do what I need to do. And there's another great example that I like. One long after Sri Ramakrishna's passing, Holy Mother was traveling from Jairamati to Kolkata, and she was going in a bullock cart, which is like, oh my God. It takes about 3 days. It's just really miserable. And on the way there, the cook, they stopped to eat, and the cook broke the earthen cooking pot. Well, that was like, oh, you know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And Holy Mother very carefully went to the top where the rice had not been exposed, when it had been thrown on the dirt. She and then she took some vegetables out, and she opened her little thing with Sri Ramakrishna's picture, and she, with folded hands, she spread, Thakur, please accept this food. This is the way that you've ordered it. Please accept this food. And eat it now quickly while it's still warm. It's like, okay, you made it this way, please eat it now while it's warm. And the monks began to laugh. They just, and she said, look, you should act according to time, place, and circumstance. She said, all of you sit down and I shall serve you accordingly. I'll serve you the food while it's hot. Now the monks thought their idea, let's go out and find a new pot, and we'll go somewhere in the middle of nowhere. We're going to find ourselves a new pot, we'll buy it, and then we'll start again from the beginning and make it. No, she said, it's late. We've got another 10 miles to go. We will not be able to reach there on time. Adjust to time, place, circumstance. So she did it. She was wise and so practical. And so practical and so wise in her judgment that Sri Ramakrishna himself would seek her advice. She said, often I would have to say to him, please, my brain is not cool right now. Please come in the morning. So she would pray the whole night to Mother Kali. What should I tell him? What should I tell him? And then the answer would come. And then she would give her advice in the morning. There's a remarkable incident which I think really shows the depth of Mother's spirituality and how she was able to change according to circumstance. When she was a young woman, Mother was walking from her home village in Jairamati to Calcutta to see Sri Ramakrishna. It's a long way there, and it takes several days. And she was ill to begin with. And at one point, they had to cross a 10-mile field, which was inhabited by dacoits, by robbers. And they are famous for being vicious. They're famous for stealing and then killing. You know, they didn't like, no survivors, not. So it was famed for being so many in that area. It was unsafe. But Mother couldn't keep up, and she didn't want to have other people's lagging. She didn't want to affect their safety. So she said, oh, you go ahead, I'll meet you up there later. She couldn't, she just couldn't. So she was lagging and so finally it's getting dark. And then she sees this man who looks positively scary. And he comes up to her with a harsh voice, what are you doing here? Why are you here at this hour? And then without missing a beat, she said, Father, my companions have left me behind and I've lost my way. Father, please accompany to the place where you will meet your son-in-law, who is a priest of the Dakshineshwar temple. He'll be very happy to see you. He'll be very pleased if you take me to him. Because she didn't see him as a scary dacoit. She honestly and truly saw him as, Father, you are my own, I am your own. And that touched him. And no sooner did she finish saying that than a woman came out who looked pretty scary too, She was the dacoit's wife. And when Mother saw her, she grabbed her by the hand and said, "Oh, Mother, Mother, thank goodness you have come. I was so scared. I'm your daughter Sarda, and I've been left behind by my companions. I was in great danger. I don't know what I would have done if you and Father hadn't come to my help." And because of that, she saw them as literally her own. She literally saw them as her own. That conveyed, and they responded in kind. She was their own. They literally treated her as their own daughter. They took care of her. They fed her. They comforted her. They made sure she was comfortable. And they got her all the way to Dakshineshwar. It wasn't scripted. It was deeply felt on both sides, because it was that love and trust that Mother had was so genuine. It could penetrate iron. And that's what she has for us. The dacoits immediately saw her as their own. And so when Sri Ramakrishna greeted them, he greeted them with great respect and great love and appreciation, treated them as family, and they stayed. And then they would come back every once in a while to visit their daughter and their son-in-law. It's very touching, because it's what we put out has a lot to do with what comes back to us. She puts out an immense amount of love and trust, and that came back to her. She had the capacity for it because she had no fear. And she gives that fearlessness to us because we can say, "I have a mother." You know, it isn't hyperbole or poetic speech. She is literally our own. She's literally our own. She was very fond of the Muslim thief Amjad, who was, as in Hindu society, you just don't look after Muslim thieves. You don't feed them, but she did. And she said, "Amjad is every bit my son as Sharat." Well, Sharat was Swami Sardananda, Ramakrishna's disciple, who was her attendant for most of her life. Amjad is the same to me as Sharat. Okay. So Amjad would get out of jail and he'd go straight to Mother and be fed and cared for and loved. And she would ask about him and how everything was going with him. And of course, everybody was outraged by it, but she just kept doing what she did because she said, "Amjad is my son." And just as bad as a Muslim thief, Westerners were kind of in that category too. Angreji, yeah. The Westerners who you didn't hang out with them and you surely did not eat with them. No, 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 no. Mother embraced them and ate with them. When Swamiji heard about this, because it was his disciples, when he heard about it, he nearly danced with joy. He would say, "Have you heard? Have you heard? Mother accepted them. She ate with them." He was like, "Mother did this." He was so elated. He was so elated. It's like she is indeed the Divine Mother herself. Mother was especially close to Sister Nivedita, Swamiji's British-Irish disciple. And when Nivedita would give her the little gifts that Nivedita would give her, like something to protect her eyes from the light, she kept it for her entire life. She'd say, "Cookie gave this to me. My baby has given this to me." She saw her literally as her own baby. She loved her so much. During this time, women's education was almost unknown in Bengal, probably throughout India. And it was not appreciated. It was certainly frowned upon. Mother was caught trying to learn how to read, and Ramlal took the book away and said, if you women start reading, they'll start reading novels. Ooh. Then what's going to happen? They might think, geez. So that was taken away from her, and she still surreptitiously was getting lessons from Lakshmi D on how to read and write, but she really never could. But Mother was a strong proponent of women's education and was a strong supporter, especially of Sister Nivedita's school for girls. Really, really did everything she could to support it. Mother became closely associated with that school and visited it so she could be with the girls. She did everything she could to really promote women's education. In her simple, sweet way, Mother was able to answer questions that confounded philosophers for hundreds of thousands of years. And above all, she emphasized the necessity of work and the necessity of meditation, japa, and prayer. You can't just work, because the ego is going to go in there and go, here I am, I'm doing everything, I'm amazing. Mother was like, no, you have to balance that with work, meditation, japa. She said, you have to meditate every day. She said, and then she also about the importance of regularity in meditation, do it at the same time, and doing it like clockwork, making it a habit. She said, constant meditation will make the mind one-pointed. And then she said, it serves as a rudder on a boat. This constancy in meditation, that she said at least morning and evening, meditate, prayer, do japa. A rudder on a boat, that if we don't have that, we will be, you don't ever want to be on a boat without a rudder, especially when the seas of life are going the way they're going now. It can be very scary, the world sometimes, very unpredictable. So having a rudder is really important on our boat. She said, practice japa, that repeating the name of God. She said, through that you will attain everything. You know, I like one-stop shopping centers. It's like attain everything. Very simple practice, everything. Because we can do japa anywhere, anytime, doing whatever we want. We can do it walking. We can do it when we're just chopping vegetables. We can do it when we're washing windows. We can do it when we're stuck in traffic. Why not do that in traffic rather than listening to depressing news or podcasts that just give us more information but doesn't feed our soul? We get way too much information, way too much brain junk, and not enough things that are going to feed our soul. Waiting in line at the grocery store, do japa. Waiting for the train to come, do japa. It is the answer, because it's like a car wash. You bring your car in, it does that with us. Japa is the only practice that actually purifies the unconscious mind. Everything else we're working on is the conscious mind. 99% of our mind is unconscious for lives and lives and lives and lives and lives. We can't get to that. And that's what needs to be purified, because the minute we sit down to meditate, boom, something pops up. All these things that are, the minute the mind becomes calm, the jack in the box pops up, boom. The unconscious mind goes to town, because we've kept the mind calm, which is why a lot of people don't want quiet. They don't want to know what's going on in their mind. So they keep themselves, all this garbage going on all the time, whether it's their phone or the radio or television or whatever people do to shopping, endless diversions to avoid quiet. But we need that quiet. We need internal and external quiet. Japa, japa, japa. You know, a college student used to visit Holy Mother, used to visit Hurudu Bodhin. And then one day when he was leaving, he suddenly said, Mother, I'm no good for this place. I am unfit to be here. I'm unfit to come to you. Goodbye forever. He ran out the door. She went running after him. The woman who was so bashful and shy went running after him, grabbed him by the collar, turned him around, held him by the shoulders, and looked him straight in the eye. Bashful mother. And she said with a very strong voice, whenever any disturbing thought comes to you, think of me. Don't worry. Whenever any disturbing thought comes to you, remember me. Don't worry. The same goes for us. It totally changed that kid's life. Every time he could not get Mother out of his mind, he would see those loving, compassionate eyes, and his life was totally transformed. We're in the same place as that college kid. Think of me, think of me, think of me. Our life will be transformed if we want it transformed. If we want it. Don't have to be. We can keep going around again and again and again and again and again. But why bother? Same old stuff. Think of Mother. The same miracle can happen to us. You know, the great thing with Mother is that no matter what we have done, said, or thought, she loves us and she accepts us. Mother is very famous for her final words, her final message to the world, which is, my child, if you wish to find peace of mind, don't find faults in others. Look at your own faults. No one is a stranger, my child. The whole world is your own. Now, we know these words by heart, but we like to listen to high Vedanta lectures which say exactly the same thing. This is absolutely the highest teachings of Advaita Vedanta. No one is a stranger. The whole world is your own. There is no stranger. There is no other. That's why she couldn't treat anybody as other, because the whole world is our own. The whole world is our own. So there's no anybody that's different. We're all same Atman, same Brahman, same divine being, masquerading with these ridiculous outfits that we're wearing, these ridiculous attitudes that we have, playing our little parts in this Leela of God. But there's no strangers. There's no strangers. She literally saw everyone as her own child, no matter whether they were, men or women or dogs or cats or bugs and birds. Everyone was in her circle of love and protection. They were protected by her compassion and her love, her understanding of them. She could see no one as other, no one, no, not even a bug. It's like, if we could even try to see others as she did, even make the effort to see others as she did, our lives would be so much sweeter. Oh my God, we would be so much happier. Our lives would be so much sweeter if we could even try to see people in the same way that she did. Even if for a minute a day we did that, how much peace and joy we would have. And our life would be a blessing, and our life would be a blessing to the world. That would be, Swami Sheshanand, I was talking about him last night, Swami Sheshanand in Portland, who was Holy Mother's disciple, used to say, Thakur is the method, Holy Mother is the grace. Thakur is the method, Mother is the grace. And I sincerely pray to her that we can all feel the grace that she's bestowing upon us at every minute. Thank you. Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishna Jagat Guru Pada Padme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmahu Pranamami Muhurmahu Pranamami Muhurmahu. O Mother Sarada, Sri Ramakrishna, I take refuge at your feet. I take refuge at your feet and I salute you again and again. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto us all. Thank you. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to throw my hat in the ring.
Is it okay?
Do you want to see my face?
Just move the podium.
Okay.
And we can give you the mic.
Okay.
So I have two practical questions. One is, I guess the first one is about japa.
Yeah.
But I guess we're taught to, do it a certain amount of times. Every time, I guess I attempt to do it, in daily life, I'm not doing it the exact number of times. So is that something that's proper, or does it even matter?
Yeah, it matters.
It matters. Every session?
You really want to do what your guru told you to do.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't mean that always happens, but it should be your goal.
Okay.
And what you do when you're walking or riding a bike or at the gym or on your way to work is something extra. But that time that you do in your shrine, that dedicated time, should be as much as your guru told you to do.
Okay.
It does make a difference because you'll feel the difference. you really will feel the difference. Your life will be better.
Thank you. And so you're saying like in that one session, but just like if I'm like doing dishes.
That's a separate. Yeah.
Understood.
Because that way, if you do it while doing dishes, in a sense, we're splitting the mind.
Mm-hmm.
The mind isn't totally directed because you're moving your hands, you're moving that.
Yeah.
So it's still purifying the mind, but it isn't that dedicated spiritual practice that you really need to have.
Understood. Thank you. The second question is about you're saying like I know mothers like her whole like she preaches about no judgment towards others, and I feel like sometimes it can be very difficult to practice, especially society's become so critical of others or everyone's actions, and it's like almost like a common conversation.
Yeah.
Like the easiest conversation. So I guess what's your advice on maybe trying to like shut it down personally and not try to.
Yeah, it's hard to shut it down, especially when people are kind of ganging up. But I think just a reminder, it's like, hey, that person's a human being too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially now when everybody's so angry. And people get angry over the stupidest things. It's like people not using the right word, or people like everybody's too willing to jump down each other's throat. And it's like, hey, come on, remember, hey, I just don't want to go there. Mm-hmm. Let's remember that we're human beings. Everybody's a human being. Even the people that are acting in very disrespectful ways that we would not want to appreciate or advocate for, they're still a human being. They're doing for some reason, the Divine Mother has ordained this very terrible play right now. So we just have to kind of like, okay, Mother, do our part to do the right thing, and then try to bring the temperature down. Because for our part, if we can bring the temperature down in any way we can, then we have a chance of being able to speak to each other with respect and love, rather than going into opposing camps. It's very bad. The more we get entrenched in a particular camp, the less we see each other as divine beings, even human beings. They become just them. And when the conversation stops and the finger pointing begins, it's bad for everybody, because we lose the love that we normally have. If that person who we think is a demon gets hit by a car, anyone in the right mind is going to come and help that person. Because by nature, human beings are going to say, hey, how can I help you? You don't often appreciate what people, but still, you're a human being. How can I care for you? I mean, we have to remember that we have to love each other. If there's one thing that Mother was teaching us, it's like, have love. Let them pull down our own ego-identified opinions, which people are holding onto as if they're, the Ten Commandments. They're not. We just try to see each other as human beings and try to do the best thing that we can. It's a hard time. It's a really hard time.
Thank you for that. That's very helpful, especially acknowledging that I feel like society right now is very much against each other in all directions.
It's really in turmoil. I mean, my little hometown is just like they're having like marches and and it's like, whoa. Everyone, no one is a stranger. It's like no one's an immigrant and no one's an evil person.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for a very inspiring talk. I really enjoyed it. I'd love to get your thoughts about Hinduism pre-Vedanta, right? Before the Upanishads came in to being, Hindus believed in animism, right? We prayed to rivers, we prayed to trees, we believed animals had consciousness.
Animals do have consciousness.
Right.
Talk to a dog lover. Are you trying to tell me my puppy doesn't have consciousness? Oh, believe me. Most manipulative being on the planet.
Absolutely. And we've somehow, lost. I mean, parts of India, you go to rural India, there's still a lot of local practices around praying to the land and praying to inanimate objects and stones and all kinds of.
That's so valuable.
That's so valuable, right? But like within the current modern context of Hinduism, we've kind of lost some of those animistic, practices, and it sounded like Holy Mother also sort of embraced that in ways that maybe Sri Ramakrishna didn't. I don't know enough to be honest, but the focus was on the goddess and specific.
But he did.
form.
But remember, he practiced every religion he could get his hand on, and he always would talk to people about their spiritual practice. And remember that what we read in M's gospel is very small compared to the amount of. M was usually there only on Saturdays, sometimes Saturdays and Tuesdays. He wasn't there when he was visiting other places. He wasn't there when he visited women, for example, because he would not be allowed into the inner apartments. He was not there when he would be visiting so many other places, but Sri Ramakrishna was just a glutton for religion, for spirituality in any form. And if people practiced in a way that would elevate their consciousness, he was all in. He was really, Shitala in Jairambati, the goddess of smallpox, but she's still a goddess. And he talks about Mrinalini, the one who at the end she goes into, the goddess is born as the daughter of somebody, and then he says, "Oh, go away," and then at the end you only see her conch bangles coming and her perfume coming from the pond. So he definitely reveres those too. I think in any way the people approach something apart from something of spirit, something that reveres going outside of the ego, something that reveres a higher being, a higher calling. The Native Americans are very much into the land, and the land is definitely sacred. Bhuma Devi, the earth is sacred. That's part of the tradition, and that was tradition pre-Vedic. Anyone who ever deals with the land knows how sacred land is. And the Upanishads still work from that same paradigm, because in the Upanishads, when Satyakama's learning from the cows, when he's getting messages from beings other than humans, because we can learn so much with an alert mind. All these lessons come for us. And Sri Ramakrishna repeated that he was very alert to these messages, as was Mother. But I think Sri Ramakrishna, they said he especially came for the upliftment of women. He especially came to really emphasize the feminine aspect of God, which with the 19th century and the Brahmo Samaj and that intellectualization and Protestantization of religion, it was like, in order to be civilized, you have to be monotheistic, you have to be this, you have to be that. So I think it really shut down. If you take out the feminine of religion, you take out half your brain, or take off half your heart, because the feminine energy carries so much. It carries motherhood in there, nurturing, which you don't get from that masculine aspect, which is why every Shiva always has a Shakti. Every Shiva, every part of the universal experience has to be included in divinity. And I think that's what's so healthy about the Hindu tradition. I think Christianity became so strongly male-oriented that the God, the Father, was the guy with the stick. He was going to punish you if you did anything wrong. He was like Santa Claus. He was going to stick a piece of coal in your stocking if you weren't doing what's right. So God is up there. He's judging you. But Mom doesn't judge. Mom hands you the $10 bill when Dad gets mad at you and says, "Honey, go out and get a hamburger. Honey, it's okay. You'll be all right." So we have to have both those aspects. But Sri Ramakrishna Swamiji said that he came specifically to bring that aspect of the worship of the divine feminine. And you see that with Ramakrishna, and certainly with his attitude towards Sarada Devi, where he literally gave after he did all of his austerities, he offered it at the feet of Mother. "It's yours, yeah, All those are yours. And how much he emphasized that he wanted her to teach after he passed away. He said, I've done so little, you will have to do much more. She said, oh no, I can't, I'm just a woman. He went, nothing doing, nothing doing. You will have much more to do. And she did. She did. He insisted upon it. He insisted that Gauri Ma teach the women. He insisted, he said, the women in Calcutta are living like worms, you go and teach them. She said, no, 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 I will take just a few girls, a few select girls, and we'll go up to the Himalayas. He says, no, 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 you've done enough tapasya. You go into Calcutta. You work with the women. We don't hear that much about Ramakrishna, but that's what he did. Very much to emphasize the divinity of women and to pull them up. So yes, all these aspects are part of the tradition. I don't think the Vedic undid all that. I think the Western influence coming via the Brahmo Samaj and all these intellectual groups, the Theosophists, all that sort of taking out what they considered to be superstition, instead of recognizing the divinity in absolutely everything, which has been part of the tradition from the very beginning. That, I mean, when I do Homa Fire, I'm worshiping, thunder is included. All these devatas are included in there. It's not erased, it's part of it. It's kind of fun.
Okay, my question is, so when I'm meditating and I do japa, I find that actually, like, when I'm trying to visualize Sri Ramakrishna, like, my mind wanders more than when I do non-dual meditation that is formless, which is kind of the opposite, I think, of what a lot of people have. So why is that?
I think because you don't have to visualize anything, it makes your brain work less. I think that's why you need to go back to the form, because there's a realize, because it forces your brain to stick on something. And that's very difficult. That's dharana. When we meditate, we're actually not meditating. Meditation is the last stage before samadhi. So before that, we do dharana, which is making the mind stick on a single point. It's very hard to make the mind stick on a single point because the nature of thoughts are to go boing, 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 boing. So to put it into one, all those billion thoughts, and to put it into one thought and put it on one aspect of a form with the mantra demands a lot of concentration and a lot of attention. And it sharpens the mind, concentrates the mind. And without that, we won't be able to get very far. We won't be able to begin to meditate because we haven't succeeded at dharana. Dharana is necessary before meditation. Meditation means your mind is completely one-pointed. And if you're not meditating on a form, it's something out, mind is just, it's more amorphous and it's less work.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, couldn't be what you wanted.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I have a request, Mataji.
Huh.
You mentioned couple of books yesterday, like you had a question on one, Seeing God.
Oh, Seeing God Everywhere, Everywhere by Swami Shraddhananda. Yes. Available through Amazon and Vedanta Press. Seeing God Everywhere. Yeah, it has a section on the mantras that's unbelievable. It's really good. Seeing God Everywhere. Shraddhananda.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Could you clarify what you mean by like the mantras? Like, is it just like
Ishta mantra.
Okay.
The Ishta mantra given by your guru.
Okay.
We can't give ourselves mantras. That don't work because it doesn't have the power. You need to have the mantra given by an illumined guru in that line of gurus, the Guru Parampara. Because the ones that were given in this order come directly from Sri Ramakrishna. Holy Mother got all of her mantras directly from Sri Ramakrishna. The direct disciples got theirs directly from Sri Ramakrishna and from Holy Mother too. If they didn't have direct knowledge, she gave initiation to several of the devotees. of his direct disciples. Those mantras come down directly from Sri Ramakrishna, and we get the results of his many austerities and all of his spiritual practices and his illumination. And it is transferred from pure being to pure being. So when we get it from our guru, it is from Sri Ramakrishna to his disciple, from his disciple to his disciple. And we are part of that lineage. And our great blessing are we are so close to the source. We are so close. I was with Swami Shraddhananda, and he told me that what he heard from Swami Subodhananda. That when Swami Subodhananda said, when Thakur sang, Jago, 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 he sang it like, Jago, Jago, Jago. And to have it put right in front of me by a Swami who heard it from a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, that's amazing. That's within our lifetime. We are so close to that power. We're so close to the source. We are so blessed. And if we don't realize how fortunate we are, we're quite unfortunate. It's really because we're so close to that source. We're so close to these great saints. As my guru would say, it's in the palm of your hand. Just take advantage of it. It's wonderful, yeah. Any other questions, comments, arguments? Acha.
So in daily life, there are many frictions we face.
No kidding.
Like sometimes at work we have to self-promote, we have to sometimes deal with difficult people and so on. So far I've been treating all of that as friction that will reveal all the ways in which my ego flares up. That's a good thing. Is that always the right practice, or is there ever a point where you say, okay, I'm going to not do this?
Well, I think if you find someone doing something that's unethical, or that it's affecting your mind to the point where you really can't be there without it lingering in your mind when you get home and affecting your ability to have a clean life, you got to get out of there. Or you have to step up and say, go to your manager and say, you know what, this isn't working. This isn't working. Because our work is very important to us, but it can't be our whole life. A friend of mine had a very, very, very high-powered job, well-known firm. And he was constantly doing interference between the CEO and the rest of the employees who were in the hundreds of thousands. And he just... and so he eventually had to say, that's it, I quit. And they said, no, we want to make you CEO. He said, no, I'm out of here. So he went and started his own nonprofit.
So it isn't that you should just try to transcend it?
You can if it's not affecting you to the point that you take it home with you. And if it's unethical, you got to deal with it. If it's unethical, you are called upon to say something about it. Because that's dharma. That's dharma. If we participate, if we don't call it out, then we participate. If we participate, that's adharmic. Then we're soiled too. Because we want to just get along. Just gotta stand up. Gotta stand up to it. Stand up to injustice. And stand up to lying. It's not fun. But it's necessary. Yeah.
So where is the balance, right, if, let's just say things get more chaotic, not projecting, but they get more chaotic than they are now in the environment, and we're put in this position where you either are standing up to the injustice or you're being completely I'm going to sit over in my corner and meditate and hope things get
You
better.
stand up to injustice.
Stand up to injustice. Okay.
Stand up. Yeah. In our position, we have to be completely apolitical because we have to be there for one side as much as the other. But when you see injustice, you have to step up, especially when people are powerless and innocent. Especially when people are powerless. Because we have, we've been given certain rights. And if you see people being trampled, and you have to, I'm just like, where their mother was there for the British as she was for the freedom movement. But many of our swamis were freedom fighters, but then when they joined the order, they had to quit it. Because we have to be there for everybody. But I hope and pray that it calms down. I hope and pray that it calms down. Because coming to a boiling point isn't serving anybody. And more people will get hurt unnecessarily. And kids won't get educated. And kids will feel unsafe, and we have to protect children. And we have to protect the elderly, we have to protect the weak. We have to protect the people who have no resources. So we do what we can. But somehow Mother Kali is dancing with her cleats on. Okay, Mother, we're here. But it isn't just us, it's around the world. It's around the world too. So we just hear, one thing we know is we have a mother. We have a mother, we have a resource, we have our inner protection. So our inner peace isn't lost. Because we don't want to lose our own inner peace. We can't be pulled out of it to such an extent that we forget who and what we are, and who and what other people are too. So that doesn't mean you don't stand up for what's right. But you do so respectfully, with love, respect. Yeah, tough time. Yeah.
If we do meditate and we try to calm our mind, japa or whatever, so the state what we achieve through that, is it the same like what we experience in the deep sleep?
No, it's close. Swami Shraddhananda used to say, I love to go to sleep. Love to go to sleep. He said the next stage for samadhi. It's right, it's just that little barrier. But it's a state of deep rest. But often, if we have an experience, it's not so much of deep rest, but maybe of joy. Maybe of something else, of something unexpected happening. Of Ramakrishna and Sarda Devi leaving their breadcrumbs around for us. So deep sleep is necessary. We all need it. Unless we have the adequate amount of sleep, we'll end up falling asleep when we're trying to meditate. And deep sleep is important because it's so restful. The mind is finally, the ego has gotten out of the way finally. Because even in dream state, the ego is still there in a weird little forms. But in deep sleep, the ego is gone, and so we can really rest. We can really rest. The mind isn't there, the ego isn't there. It's just like, whew, back to the ocean of consciousness. Yeah.
So in meditation also, mind goes into that state?
It depends on what you call meditation. Most meditations like bring my mind back, bring my mind back, bring my mind back, which is it isn't a deep ocean of tranquility. It's like pulling the leash. You know? Don't so sniff in that back. Yeah, pulling the leash in.
So then in samadhi, it's we can consider
Well, there's nirvikalpa, and then there's savikalpa, there's bhava samadhi. There's so many different types of samadhi. All we can do is try to do our practice. Do our practice and rely on the grace of God. That's what we have to do. We don't know. All we do know is that we know if we do our practice, that we'll be taken care of. Everything will happen in the right time. As Thakur said, the mother bird doesn't peck at the egg until it's ready to come out. So our egg will crack when they think we're ready for it, because we need to build up our spiritual life. If we have an experience, we won't be ready for it. We won't be able to maintain it. We won't be able to hold it, because our ethical life and our mind isn't strong enough to hold it. So we need to really do our practice, and very few people are ready to do that to have that kind of intense experience. Any other questions, points?
I guess I wanted to know what are your thoughts on like idleness or like times of rest or breaks?
Well, there's a difference between idleness
I
and,
found
and
notes
rest.
on that.
Yeah. Holy Mother said we shouldn't be without work for a minute. And I think that's because daydreaming is not necessarily a good thing. It's just what they call babying the mind. I think in the West we're too busy, and we're being too busy by being too busy, because it's seen that if you're just looking at a beautiful sky or appreciating the tranquility of the mountains, or, you know, like you got a lot here, or a lake, or going to an art gallery and seeing something extraordinarily beautiful. So that is a value, because it makes the mind very peaceful. But a lot of times in the West especially, you have to be busy, you have to be working, you have to be doing this, and it's not a balanced life. So we need time for rest, we need time for enjoyment of beauty and aesthetics. We need to be able to appreciate the beauty that comes to us, but we also need to really do our work. And we work very with concentration, so that we're not kind of just babying the mind. Because just like going into cat space is not a good thing, because making the mind blank is impossible. It'll just be in a state of kind of like dullness. It isn't like a white sheet. It's like dull. So you need to have the mind be alert. When the mind is alert, it can catch everything. It can catch where the mind is going, because we have to really watch where the mind's going. If we're not alert of where our mind is going, we're not aware of our own tendencies. And in order for us to be happy, we have to know what tendencies we have that we're dealing with. Oh, are you thinking of that? Why? You're thinking of lunch now? It's like you have to be really aware of where the mind is going, and then see if you have any habits that are developing. Why are you thinking about that person now? You had an argument, just leave it. Leave it. So we have to really be aware of where our mind's focus are, and how do we need to change that focus, so that if we find that we have a way of going back to things that are not healthy or useful for us, that we can change that focus. So going into a blah isn't, I don't think, a good thing. I mean, relaxing is good. You know, going out and being with beauty, or doing a painting, or doing music or something. But not just blah space, not cat space.
Thank you, that's very helpful, because I think again, like, we like want to like make excuses to always, you know, just lay down for like hours and then it becomes, you know, the whole
Well,
day.
laying down and sleeping is a good thing if you're tired.
Yeah.
But just laying down and looking at a sitting, maybe not so helpful.
Yeah.
Because it can form a habit.
Mhm.
And the mind is lazy by nature. And so that will encourage the laziness. It'll make you want to do it. It's very easy to develop a habit. It's like once someone gave me a sip of a latte. It's like, ooh, that's good. And like, it's like, oh, that place sells latte. So it's like, oh, I want a latte of my own. I'm not just going to have a sip. It's like, okay. And pretty soon it's like, I want a latte. And instead it's like having it being a once-off thing, or a twice-off or 10-off thing. It just becomes like, I need to have that. So the mind forms habits so quickly. It's really important to have good habits to begin with, or noticing what the habits are.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Yes.
Can you please elaborate on the definition of pure mind?
Ek mon, ek buddhi, ek mon buddhi. Say no. Shuddha buddhi, shuddha mon, atma ek. That's the pure mind, the pure discerning facility, the Atmana one. But the pure is, that adjective is really important. Because if the mind is pure, that means that the Atman will shine forth of its own nature. It is self-luminous. The glory and the beauty and the purity the absolute pure consciousness and joy that is the nature of the Atman shines forth on its own. If the mind is impure, we're unaware of the presence of the Atman, because whether it's lust and greed, or power, or position, or name and fame, or opinions, or ego struts somewhere or the other, that will take over the mind, and you won't. The ego can't. The Atman can't shine forth. So every spiritual practice we do is for purifying the mind. Every single one, whether it's prayer, meditation, japa, bhajan, holy reading, all those are for mental purification. Everything that we do, going on a spiritual pilgrimage, purifying the mind. The whole point of purifying the mind is so that the Atman can shine forth. Because we forget that the Atman is there. The ignorant mind doesn't know the Atman is present. Kata Upanishad. Yeah. Yes?
You mentioned that it's through work alone that we remove the shackles.
Yes, that's what Holy Mother said. Karma yoga removes the shackles of karma. That the karma yoga, because when work is done in a detached way, we don't build up karma. It's only when we have karma, which means we do a work, we have a desire behind the work. The desire gives us a fruit of some sort, whether good or bad. And that creates a karma of its own. So we build up these chains, these chains that can only be cut by work done without any desire, without desire for either something coming back to me or a particular result. When we do something, we usually want something. I go to a store because I want to buy a latte, whatever. I go, I make a meal, and I sort of have an expectation that someone's going to appreciate it. So I make myself a prisoner by my expectations. I make myself a prisoner by my desires. If I don't get that latte, I'm disappointed. I might get angry. If I do get the latte, I'll have the latte. I create a desire for more lattes. And it builds up, and this creates karma. It creates more samskars in the mind. And then we lose our freedom. So we have to really watch out for what our desires are. And are they healthy or unhealthy? But every one of them, when we desire a result, we become a prisoner. Because if someone likes my meal, great. If they don't, it's like they say nothing. It's like, you're so rude. Or maybe it's like, or they don't like it. It's like, last time you're coming to my place. We have this great attachment to our work. All of our work comes with great attachment. Either you've got to like it. What do you mean you don't like it? I want it to go this way. It's desire, desire, desire. And we're taught, then we end up being a prisoner to other people's reactions. We give away our freedom. So when we do it without desire, just do it. Just hand it over. It's like when you give someone a present, you don't keep, I'm giving you this. Yeah, you hand it over. And that's what karma yoga is. You do it, you hand it over to the Lord. Good or bad, it's on you now, not mine. Very hard to do. Very hard to do that disinterested work. To do it without expecting someone to like it or dislike it, someone to give you some name and fame, some desired result that's supposed to give me something that I want. And then we're just a prisoner of our own desires. We lose our freedom for something so stupid as a latte. Anything else? Okay. Then I'll hand it over to our technological manager here. Okay. Any other announcements?
Thank you, Mataji, for coming.
My great pleasure.
Giving us this beautiful lecture and answering patiently of all our